Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Meridian Center. Game 2 for both teams in the preliminary round between the USA and Panama. Steve Clark and Amy Audibert are courtside ready to go for this one. And Amy, in this game here, looks like a mismatch on paper with the USA and Panama, but there's a reason that they play the games, and this one is expected to be a good one.
You're right about that. Panama shot 28% from the field last night, and they cannot afford to do that. On the flip side, US comes out and starts their game shooting 49% from the field. So like you said, Steve, the numbers look very mismatched. Panama playing without some key players. They're going to have to control the pace and be very efficient on offense against, I'm going to say, 12-headed monster in the US of A.
Well, let's focus a little bit on Panama right now, the clear underdogs. I mean, we were talking amongst each other before the game about the fact that Panama hasn't even been in this tournament since 1994, and then you alluded to it off the top, and it's worth mentioning that this team is missing two very key players.
Yeah, Jonathan Andrade, who played 33 and a half minutes last night in their game. They lost to Puerto Rico 51 to Puerto Rico's 84, so there's certainly a bit of a difference in the score there, but again, a player that contributed 33 minutes, had 10 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. So without that player out there, you wonder how Panama's offense is going to run freely.
But what's the old saying though, right? Next man up. I know the roster is only 12 people, but somebody's going to have to step up and take big minutes for this Panama team.
Well, that's right, and when you come to a U18 international tournament, you put your jersey on with your country's name across your chest. When it's time to play, you show up and you hope you're ready to go.
We will pause for the national anthems of both Panama and the United States. And with the national anthems in the books, we get one of the great parts of international sports and international basketball, a reciprocal agreement and exchange of gifts and handshakes before the game, before things get very competitive. Amy, the United States, you know, certainly were stretched at times in their game against the Dominican Republic last night, but really showed the depth of their roster.
Yeah, they were up 18 after the third quarter, and then they responded by scoring another 34-19 in the fourth, and that came from the recycle in the players, and they want to run and gun. They're not particularly the biggest team, so they want quick possessions, and in order to do that, 6 games in 7 days, you've got to keep your bench involved too, and also an opportunity for a couple of the young men who aren't necessarily getting in a high rotation towards the end of this tournament. They get the experience of getting out on the court and contributing as well. And
you can see there the Panama team roster with the 2 big deletions. Andrade, number 4, Ricardo Lindo, number 23. Lindo has not played yet in this tournament, and here is somebody who averaged over 22 a game in the tournament, one of the tournaments last year. There you can see their starting 5. Sanger, Lopez, Lombardo, Gunn, and Zephyrin, and they are going to be pushed by the United States, who offer a lot of pace and aggression.
Well, it all starts from the opening tip, though. Look, these young men, they are not ignorant to what they're going up against in USA, but it all starts from the opening tip and setting their tone.
There's the USA roster with their coach Bill Self, of course, of the Kansas Jayhawks. We've got a few of these players already committed to NCAA schools. A number of them will be mulling over that decision as well. And there's the starters for the USA: Anthony Grimes, Maxie Hurt, and Robinson Earl will get the start. But this is a USA team. I think you make a great point, Amy. A short tournament format. 2 things have to happen. A, your bench does have to contribute, and B, you have to really peak at the right time, and that's probably the US's goal.
Certainly that. I think yesterday there were definitely some kinks that they wanted to work out, but they had tremendous leadership, in particular from Cole Anthony, who just in spurts decided, hey, we need to extend and push and get fired up. And they have those type of leaders on the court who are certainly showing some examples, a little less vocal, but more just taking ownership and picking the pace of the game up.
And if you want to know how seriously the United States is taking this tournament, you can take a look at their coach there, Bill Self, who is a very familiar name amongst NCAA fans for coaching the Kansas Jayhawks. Amy, simply put, he's one of the best in the country.
Oh my gosh, sometimes you almost get the chills sitting here, and he's been amazing with us and just information and conversations, but it's been a fun tournament so far.
David Rosario, the coach of Panama, now has to manage not only a young team, but a little bit more of a shorter bench. Now, the one thing with Panama yesterday, the game that they played a very good first half, and they were actually in the lead in their game before really falling apart in the second half. They were actually up 36-34 at halftime against Puerto Rico, but ended up losing by 33 points.
Well, they scored 15 points total in the second half, a 7-point third quarter and an 8-point fourth quarter. And at any U18 tournament, it can't happen. You can't afford to go cold for that long, and especially against the Americans here, the USA. You certainly can't afford 15 points and a half. You almost have to go 15 points a half quarter.
Well, the team from Panama, they're undermanned with a couple of key players out there, very young, with a couple of 16-year-olds in this tournament. They're smaller than the United States, but we could probably go through basketball of all kinds as well and talk about the idea of upsets and things like that in Panama. The longer you let a team like Panama hang around, the more confidence they get, wouldn't you say?
That's right, and it's all about feet to me if you ask in terms of what Panama needs to do. If they try to muscle up with US, it might be a little bit tough. If they try to jump with the US, it's going to be pretty tough. But if they can get position with their feet and then on offense not spaz out, freak out, and get intimidated by the length, hey, I'm excited right off the tip to see how this goes.
Panama team finished 3rd at the Centro Basketball Tournament last year, so there is definitely some talent on the team from Panama, who will be dressed in red. USA will be in the white uniforms, and we're just about ready to go here for the opening tip-off of this one. Game 2, the US at 1-0 and Panama at 0-1. Again, a short tournament format, just 3 round-robin games. So usually, Amy, the second game becomes the pivotal one to really establish seeding and get to where you want to go moving forward to the quarters and semis.
What I do love is they've added the quarterfinal to the tournament, though. So you could go winless in your pool and then come out really hard in the quarter and knock a top dog off. It wouldn't be the first time it happened.
controlled by the U.S., and they will get the first basket. The tip is good from Quentin Grimes, who followed up the hurt miss. And here's the pressure by the United States early. Sanger, the point guard, will make it over the timeline. Shot blocked on the inside. A good play by Matthew Hurt. He denied Zephyrin. Follow-up opportunity by Sanger is no good. Grimes. Kick out. Three-pointer rattles in and out from Tyrese Maxey. John Gunn will pick up his dribble. Sanger, ball on the floor, guarded by Grimes. Zephyrin. Gunn, corner three, no.
Two decent looks from Panama, though, to open it up.
U.S. wants to run, and they do, but unable to finish in transition is Grimes. And we're going to get a foul called in the backcourt.
It's impressive for Panama to come out, like I said, getting two good looks. One inside, one outside. They just got to put them down. You can't have empty possessions.
Matthew Hurt picking up the personal foul. 6'9" forward from John Marshall High School. And that's going to be a turnover on the inbounds. It skipped off of Zephyrin's hands, so the United States with the ball. Ball will be inbounded by Grimes. Cole Anthony works off the Robinson Earl screen and knocks down a jumper.
And Panama right away is going to have to adjust our screens. There was no hedge, there was no help, and that's the easy read for Cole Anthony.
Sanger, ball on the floor. Good step to the basket. He was forced off balance, though, and missed the shot. Grimes running well in transition with the strong take and the finish, and it's an early 6-0 lead for the USA. And this was not how Panama wanted to come out of the gate, Amy. Couple of good looks and a little bit of bad luck around the rim. Sanger, kick out. Three-pointer is up, and it's no good from Lopez. Again, USA, they're gonna run, and in transition, it's finished by Tyrese Maxey off the feed by Grimes.
Panama's gotta have somebody back to pick that up. That's too easy in transition.
Lopez with the force, no. Anthony with the rebounds. Anthony, or it was lobbed inside, kind of a backdoor alley-oop for Robinson Earl that went astray.
8-0, 8-point lead is not quite enough to start throwing that. It was available, but a miscommunication there.
Bill Self with hands on hips, a pose that indicated he wasn't thrilled either. Tough move on the inside by Lombardo, doesn't work. Back come the U.S. Three-pointer in transition is knocked down by Maxey, and with the score 11-0 USA, it will force Panama into an early timeout, and the U.S. able to really run the floor better and hit threes in transition, as we'll see here.
And do you know what I absolutely love about that right there? Yeah, it's a pretty three and it's a nice shot. But how about your big man, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, carrying the ball up the floor, busting out in the free court, and that's where the game's going, where your fours and fives are able to rip down the ball or steal a ball or secure it anyway, and then bust up the middle of the court. That's fun basketball for USA right there.
Quick break in the action with the USA up 11-0, 7:22 to go in the first quarter of play. And welcome back inside the Meridian Center, under 18 FIBA Americas. Here, USA out to a quick 11-0 lead. What's the message in the Panama timeout? Transition
defense. I mean, if you get good looks and you don't make them on offense, it's frustrating for a coach, but at the same time, you're getting the looks. But what's unacceptable is the lack of communication in sending someone back. You know the style this USA team wants to play, and that's what they've come out and done. You've got to have someone back.
Releasing ahead of the field was Lopez, but it's the steal by Maxey, who's been very energetic in the early going. Quentin Grimes. And look at the USA work the ball around. It's Anthony who will knock down a three-pointer from the left side.
Ball movement's beautiful, Steve. In, out, touch the paint, set it up to an outside shooter.
Gunn almost had his pocket picked. He'll keep going though, weave his way into the lane with the kick out. Lopez for three off the side stanchion, bats it inside. Gunn gets denied on the interior by Robinson Earl. Grimes with Anthony ahead of the field again. USA trying to work in transition. Now they'll pull it back half court. Three-pointer by the big man. Matthew Hurt is short. A rare miss for the United States in the early going. Steal by Maxey, and Maxey with a lane to the basket and the emphatic finish.
Yeah, you think your teammate's open, you still have to zip the ball there, and I'd say Gunn almost has to come back and meet it. USA, they're gonna be looking to shoot the gaps on those lanes because it's Dunk City the other way. It's fun basketball for them when they can pick those off.
Zephyrin, Lopez, open look for three, bit too strong and bad luck for Panama. Anthony, nice give and go worked on the inside for Tyrese Maxey. And the USA, Amy, who had a 19-0 run in the fourth quarter of their game against the Dominican Republic, an 18-0 run to start off the game here.
And you're seeing a full five look to sub in for USA and just get fresh legs and let them go out and have fun. This first starting unit's done a great job in terms of what they want to do. They've executed, which is run as Cole Anthony hits down that nice baseline jumper. You see he's a wonderful shooter. Got great release.
Steal. And another big emphatic dunk by Quentin Grimes. And do not adjust your sets. It is 22-0 for the United States.
A future Kansas player in Quentin Grimes that's got to make himself feel just a little bit happy. I'm getting that guy soon.
Sanger. Zephyrin, ball on the floor. Jumper is rejected by Matthew Hurt, and then he throws it away. Gunn back up the floor. Lombardo, big man, weaves his way through, got rejected by Gunn again. Follow-up is up and it's no good, and Lombardo, bad luck around the rim. Here's Anthony running the floor, coming right down the middle is the big man, Robinson Earl. He gets fouled on the play, and the U.S. defense has held Panama off the score sheet for the first 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, and you saw almost every guy in there get a good look or touch the ball. It wasn't one or two players. I love what Cole Anthony just did, which was reward the big man for running down the floor, and Jeremiah Robinson Earl.
USA making pretty much wholesale changes, save for the shooter Robinson Earl, and Bacot is ready to come in and sub in for him too if the opportunity arises.
So you're supposed to make the first one and miss the second one, so you get another rep down the court.
There you can see that big flush.
Yeah, it's pretty.
For the future, Kansas Jayhawk. Robinson Earl 0 for 2, it gets batted around. Picked up by Watts, he'll kick it out. White with the ball on the floor, 5 on the shot clock. Sumu will drive in and he scores 2.
You see how hungry all the U.S. players are. They get a sub and the first thing they do is get an offensive rebound off a free throw.
Gunn fouled on the play by Kobe White, and finally Bacot can sub in for Robinson Earl.
And you see the Panama coaching staff. The most important thing they can do is just continue to get good looks. I think that helps with your confidence in terms of, hey, at least we're getting good looks, because the last thing you want to do is not even get shots up or quality shots up because the defense is so intimidating or overpowering like that right there.
Garibaldi throwing the ball away. Bacot coming in. He switched to the left hands and got fouled, and will get 2 opportunities from the line. Bacot, according to the ESPN, has had looks from 17 different schools.
Well, you see why. And in the notes, one of my favorite things, he's on the headmaster's list at high school, so he's taking care of the classroom too, and you always have to respect that type of player.
6'9", Trinity Episcopal School. And the big man shoot foul shots. He knocked down the first one and gets the second one, and it's 26-0 USA. And we knew Panama was going to be undermanned, but this was not part of the game plan. Gunn tries to force it inside. The quick hands of White will knock it out of bounds. 15 on the shot clock. Garibaldi to inbound. Sanjur almost took steps. Now will maintain the dribble, picks the ball back up again, steps to the left baseline, forces one, and that's an air ball. Basuma with a touch pass, but it's behind Watts. Last touch by Panama, it'll remain USA ball. 20 on the shot clock. Here's Watts Jr. He'll pull it back out. Off the Bacot screen. Worked inside to Bacot, working well on the interior with the easy layup.
That's just a great pass and a great finish. It's tough for Panama. They've got to play the feet, not the body, but the size advantage is just so overwhelming. Aguilar missed a short baseline jumper. Watts Jr. touch pass, and look at the USA work. It's another dunk on the inside for Bacot. Well, it's a 3-on-2, and you have to love the layups out of a 3-on-2. A lot of times you're starting to see guys pull up now, and it's just the easiest shot. Well, dunk, I'm going to say, aside from the layup. USA continuing to pressure the ball as Panama struggles to get it in. And here it is. Here's your 3-on-2. Nice pass, just a little scoop shovel and a big finish from the big man. It's got to feel good. Get that look early. Ayo Dasunmo with the dish. Panama in all sorts of trouble, and it's another turnover. Watts Jr., Bacot, another layup on the interior. And here comes the press again from the US. Duque gets surrounded by James and Dasumo. Garibaldi. Gunn trying to direct some traffic. Ball on the floor, stripped away by James. Here's Watts with a lane to the basket and a finger roll. Watts has so much energy. Came off the bench last night with such a spark plug. He's so quick, getting rim to rim. Aguilar with an air ball on the fadeaway. White back up the floor with a spectacular move. He got fouled on the play, and will get 2 shots from the line. 2:03 to go in the first quarter. Panama yet to register a point. Really struggled, Panama again, 28%. They were 18 for 64 from the 3, and seeing same type of struggles. The first couple possessions of the game, Panama had some pretty nice looks, but since then, the USA's really picked up their defense, and they're flustering them outside the 3-point line. Jackson Davies and Hepa become the last 2 US players to sub in. They have gone 12 deep in the first quarter. Garibaldi. The handoff to Rooks. Kick out Duque. 3-pointer, no. Watts Jr. with the rebounds. White touch pass on the inside, and a strong challenge by Lombardo, who was not going to let Jackson Davies have the easy 2 on the interior. There's nothing wrong with that at this point. Defender, put your hand up, take the foul. I don't want to get dunked on anymore. Here's that foul on the interior. Yeah, you don't mind it at all. Panama's going, they need some sort of spark plug or something just to get them going. But again, it's not a lack of effort. It's the size and athleticism just completely overpowering Panama on the offensive end.
1 out of 2 from the line for Davis. Rooks with a lean to the basket. He gets all spun around, and the ball will be lost out of bounds. And Panama struggling to get now real opportunities and get those good looks they at least had at the beginning of the quarter, Amy. White, touch pass. Watts for 3, it's short. Rebound is going to be picked up by Osunmo. 3-pointer from the outside from White is good. A 40-0 run for the USA coming out of the gate here as we go inside a minute to go in the first quarter. I've called a lot of basketball, Amy. I've never seen something like this. Rooks picks up his dribble. Aguilar works it inside. He can't get it to go. Jumper banked off the glass is no good from Garibaldi, and now the crowd just wants Panama to get one. Watts Jr. will turn the ball over, and here's Rooks with the opportunity, and he misses the open layup, and another follow-up layup is no good as it was rejected by Osunmo. Back up the other way for 3, it's good from Kobe
I don't
White.
know if the crowd is cheering or halfway a little bit not cheering. But again, these are the best players, some of the best players in the world, future NBA players. And U18, you look at the draft classes here in the NBA, and 8 of the 10, I think, top 10 projected players are one-and-dones at a college. These are the future generation, and very short few generations, the best league in the world.
And the tale of Panama could have been written on their last offensive opportunity. They had a couple of opportunities to score. Last possession for the US. They kick it out. Hepa, the big man, for 3 is way off. And that might be the best sound for Panama. The end of the first quarter, it is USA 43, Panama nothing. A quick look at some of the numbers in the first quarter. A staggering first quarter of basketball, really.
Yeah, I mean, Panama's got to regroup. I think you almost stop looking at the scoreboard and you just regroup. But USA shooting 13 for 15 inside the line. I mean, again, they're getting high percentage shots and they're imposing their will on offense. They are doing what they want.
19 rebounds to 7. Panama actually took more shots than USA in the first quarter. But there's the score at the end of one quarter of play. USA 43, Panama nothing. FIBA Under-18 Basketball Championships here in St. Catharines. Back with the second quarter after this. Back inside the Meridian Center at the FIBA Under-18 Americas, USA 43 and Panama nothing. The USA, Amy, shooting 87% from the field. Panama, you made the point. Good looks at the beginning of the quarter, but you could see their confidence just go away as the quarter kept on going.
Yeah, and sometimes they're even trying to initiate their offense from about 3 or 4 feet off the three-point line because the size is just so overwhelming. Even that, look, that's not going to be Panama's strength inside.
Off the glass, no good from Lombardo, who'd worked his way into good position. Hepa will pick up the foul in the backcourt.
it's almost not a bad foul to take for Panama because, again, U.S. running in transition. Now they're going to go down and maybe set up a set. That may be a good sign for U.S. to have to kind of do that. They really didn't do that much in that first quarter.
Cole Anthony had 18 points versus the Dominican Republic. Watts left baseline, or Grimes left baseline, no good. Follow-up is good from Makahepa.
Well, Hepa, the Texas recruit, he'll be going to Texas next year, so Bill Self seeing a little bit of him as well.
Garibaldi almost stepped out of bounds. Rooks with the ball on the floor. Garibaldi corner three-pointer is no good. Cole Anthony the rebounds. And they're going to try and run another play on the inside kick out. Open three-pointer is up and it's no good from Maxey, and a ball that will go over to Panama. Sanger taking the point guard role for Panama. Amy played just 2 minutes in the first game, pressed into big minutes here this evening.
Well, Jonathan Andrade, we talked about it earlier, but he played 33.5 minutes with 8 assists. Their point guard, and it's hard to run an offense without your point guard.
Gunn with a three-pointer, no good, and the rebound is tipped out of bounds. It will remain Panama, 14-second shot clock.
And the States have fallen back into a zone. So Panama maybe worked that ball around, but certainly driving in the middle against much longer athletes, not the best decisions.
Panama tried the handoff play on the inbound, but Gunn stayed out of bounds, so it's a turnover. Maxey, Anthony works it around. Here's Maxey. Kick out now for Anthony. He'll cue up a three-pointer. A little bit strong, tipped by Gunn. And Duque running in transition. Duque played only 3 minutes against the Dominican in their game. Gunn works his way in. Nice pass on the inside, but getting denied was number 14, Borbua. And finally, Panama is able to get a field goal.
And Gunn has it. You saw the release. It's a nice shot. They have to be able to create those for themselves, and that's the answer right there from the USA.
Maxey comes back and hits a three after Gunn puts Panama on the board. Duque pass on the inside is knocked away, but it goes to Rooks. 8 on the shot clock. Rooks with a great step to the basket. Pass on the inside. And able to score two was Borbua. So maybe Panama can get into a little bit of rhythm now. They've got a couple of baskets. Again, good ball movement. Anthony cues up a three-pointer, no. And the rebound is going to be grabbed by Lombardo, and Gunn now becoming the primary ball handler. 15 on the shot clock for Panama to work with.
Well, against a zone, quick, sharp passes. You want to beat length and athleticism, throw a couple ball fakes in there, but they've got to get that ball moving, and then rhythm shots.
Gunn was just 2 for 12 in the first game. Gunn, ball on the floor, weaves his way in traffic and then threw it away. Ball is loose, it's picked up by Borbua. Borbua forced one inside, but it's a shot clock violation against Panama.
And it's unfortunate for them because they ended up getting a decent look out of it, but the glass half full for the coaching staff was the hustle on that play. They didn't give up. They could have very easily tried to get back and play defense, but they fought through it.
You can see the graphic there. 11 Panama turnovers haven't helped their cause here this evening. Good ball movement by the U.S. Finally gets worked around. A three-pointer in the rhythm of the offense from Grimes, no good. Foul out of bounds to Panama. Lopez will check back into the game.
And the USA, they have an opportunity right now to work that zone where they might have to pull it out later in this tournament. Zone defense has this misconception of being lazy. It's not a lazy defense if you're doing it right, which is you're low, you're long, you're communicating, and certainly something that they're going to want to clean up. I'm sure Bill Self will break down the zone after on film.
Oh, what a move by Anthony. He hung in the air and banked it off the glass for 2. And the U.S. has hit the 50-point mark, and we're still just a little less than 6 minutes away from halftime. Touch pass on the inside, tough handle for Barbua. Up the floor, it's another dunk in transition for Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, and Panama calling a timeout, and again, they're probably, again, going over. When there's movement on offense, you gotta have a guard up top who has to be conscious of getting back, or at least starting to sneak up top, because now it's happened a bunch of times where the U.S. has just leaked out and there's been no communication and no guard sent back. You see, number 10 needed to kind of get over a little bit already, and again, like when you talk about film, I guarantee Panama's also going to break down this film because a lot of their problems have actually been communication and positioning.
Tyrese Maxey, who just finished that transition dunk, Amy, is headed to Kentucky. I mean, these U.S. guys who are on this team, we're not talking about them being recruited to mid-majors or D2 schools. They're going to the big schools, some of these guys.
Some of these guys are picked, like they're writing their ticket. And again, in a couple years, some of these guys might already be getting those NBA looks. There's NBA scouts in the building in St. Catharines, Ontario. I mean, they're here to watch these guys play. And that's another reason, Steve, why when they get on the court, they're not going to coast. It is an opportunity on top of an honor to wear their country's. No one puts on a USA basketball jersey without knowing what that means. And so you can't expect them to pull back. It's not in their nature.
And you know, scouts at any sport, they look for things in scores like this and off the ball and body language and all of those things.
Yeah, the intangibles are so important, especially these days.
USA will stay in the zone. Lopez weaves his way in. They get it inside of the zone, but Barbua couldn't finish. White running the floor beautifully and trailing the play and finishing in transition is Hurt.
That's another guy getting looks from Duke, UNC, Louisville, Kentucky, of course, Kansas. So long and athletic. He's a fantastic shooter.
Gunn with a deep three-pointer, just a little bit strong. Robinson Earl with the rebound. White up the floor. White with a three-pointer, it's short. Osunmu with the rebound and the reset. 10 on the shot clock. Robinson Earl, jumper, just inside the right elbow is good.
Yeah, unfortunately, Panama defensively, again, I'm going to say they're overpowered. However, on that position or possession, hands aren't up. They're not in a defensive stance.
Rooks for 3, no good. Panama trying to shoot their way out of the zone. Lopez will knock the ball away on the James pass. 4:28 to go here in the first half. USA have put on a clinic so far. No other way to put it, Amy. 56-4, they lead.
Shooting 68% from the field. It's incredible. And yeah, again, they're getting those high percentage shots, but they are making them. And Bill Self just had a great season at Kansas. His team shot 49% from the field on the season. So he's very much about creating good angles and putting his players in the best position to score.
Epa was denied on the interior. And out of bounds was James as he put the ball on the floor. Turnover.
Well, it's happened quite a bit in the tournament, and that's because that lane line between the 3 and the out of bounds is a little bit shorter when they're used to. So some players, when they catch, they split or they get into that stance. And we've seen it a couple times almost every game now.
Garibaldi skips it across to Rooks, but White got his hands in the way. It'll remain with Panama with 12 on the shot clock. Gunn, ball on the floor. Rooks. Drive, lost it, picked it up again, forced a shot. No, it's an air ball. And they'll release Asunmu ahead of the field, and it's a transition layup and an easy 2.
Again, USA just getting in front of the Panama, or behind the Panama defense, if you want to look at it that way.
Gunn maintains his dribble. Fadeaway jumper off glass, no good. Asunmu leaking out ahead of the field again. He beats Rue down the floor and scores 2. And Amy, if there's been anything that's been the story of the first half, it has been the USA and their transition basketball.
It's got to be, it doesn't matter what team you are, it's got to be one of the top things on the scouting report is transition defense.
Gunn, kick out. Rooks will play it across. Three-pointer is going to be denied as the shot clock expired. James blocks Aguilar. 3:02 to go in the first half of play. USA able to sub liberally. Panama, as we alluded to, the game story, Andrade and Lindo, two of their finer players not playing. Tough against any opponent.
It is, and you see them in the zone as well, Panama just trying to slow down the USA, but one of their best attributes, I'd say, is their ability to move the ball. And so against the zone, and a zone that's much smaller than them too, they can see everything. You can see they make those passes a little bit too crazy. That was almost a scoop pass, and over back.
Race Davis threw the ball away as Watts couldn't corral it.
Little off the mark, but I like, especially again, a smaller zone, skip passes. That's a great way to find backside, nice, easy shots.
And you could see Panama as Garibaldi cues up a 3, and it's good. Panama, when they tried to skip it over the zone, it was very difficult.
Yeah, much more, but it worked out, and I think the USA's going to play a zone. Panama's got to get that ball moving side to side, and if you've got an open look, you've got to fire away at this point.
On the interior of the zone is Davis scoring 2. First three-pointer of the evening for Panama. They were 7 for 30 in their game against Puerto Rico.
And then 11 for 34 from the twos. They took almost as many threes as they did twos.
Garibaldi looking for back-to-back threes, and he missed. Watts Jr. is ahead of the field, and he's got an easy 2 in transition. The big man, Picot, with the rebound and the transition pass. Three-pointer is no good from Aguilar. James, touch pass on the interior, just beautiful ball movement by the USA, and it's finished by Picot. Gunn, whoa, what a move by Gunn. He got fouled on the interior, but credit Amy, he took it right into the heart of the defense.
Well, at this point, not a bad thing. Hey, go in, go hard. If you're not going to go hard and draw a foul, kick it out for a nice open look.
And Gunn, an experienced player for Panama, missing the first foul shot, played in the Centro Basket tournament as we take a look at again.
That's just a beautiful spin by a big man and a nice finish.
Gunn 1 out of 2 from the line. Gunn played the Centro Basket tournament last year, the Cocaba tournament in 2016 for his country. Picot with a pass. Davis, Watts. Three-pointer is way off. And dare I say the USA have gone a little bit cold here. From the outside, but no worries as you take a look at the score. Gunn for 3, and that's an air ball. Josiah James. Davis. Look at him weave his way into the interior and score 2 with the left hand. 6-second differential. Shot clock and game clock. Steal by Hepa. Watts Jr. again leaking ahead of the field. Davis with a dunk on the inside. 6'10" coming right into your living room.
Yeah, back-to-back possessions for him. Just bigger, faster, stronger, finding the lanes and finishing off the bucket.
Gunn with a three-pointer at the buzzer, no good. And the USA, it is a 62-point lead at halftime, 70-8 over Panama. We knew Panama was going to be in tough. I'm not 100% sure we expected this sort of discrepancy.
No, I mean, and it is a credit to the USA because they didn't come out like this yesterday. They played Dominican Republic, who challenged them a bit more, but at the same time, they came out on fire. Look at those assists, 25-2. They're moving the ball, everyone's touching, everyone's playing. They did come out better and more focused and ready to go tonight.
And it shows on the scoreboard. The second half is coming up. FIBA U18 Americas Basketball Tournament here in St. Catharines at the beautiful Meridian Center. We will be back with the second half, USA and Panama, after this.
I'd tell them up the floor quickly.
This crowd is going to be loud here. They really get behind the team.
World Cup qualifiers were meant to bring basketball home to the home nations.
Marcus drives in and scores. The party's on. Brasino flies in.
On the putback.
4-1, back to Grass. Roll! Who goes in for the dunk? Scola. Wow. So in, and Samus Reyes flies in for the dunk. What a play that is!
Right, that's what it means.
Great win for the Uruguayans.
Welcome back inside the Meridian Center. Both teams are out of their halftime locker room chat and warming up as we get ready to go for the second half. It is 70-8, the USA with a huge lead over Panama. And when we break down the game is the ability for the United States, Amy, to get into the open floor. But you wanted to note a couple things about Panama as well.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at some of these clips here, and there's not a lot of red jerseys. They're letting the white jerseys get right out in front of them, and so there's a little bit of communication. I fully understand when you're dealing with a faster squad, but I mean, you still have to be conscious of that and get a little bit farther back or a little bit extra or make that little extra effort. I mean, the fast break points right now are 36-0 in favor of course, the USA. So I just think for Panama, obviously, it's going to be tough to come back and win this. And if it does, I will say this is the best game I've ever witnessed in my life. But at the same time, it's like these little things that you can fix.
Yeah.
And it's I always call this, it's gut check time, Steve. You got to prove to your coaches, but you already got to also have to prove to yourself, if you're Panama, that you're still going to continue to fight. This is character revealing right here.
Such great instincts from this USA basketball team, though, to anticipate as to when to leak out in transition and really finish strongly, whether it's layups or dunks. You can see how this team, they can play in the half court and they can play transition basketball.
That's their style, and that's kind of what's ingrained. And it's really the way the game is going, run and gun. That's just, you look at Golden State and how many teams have now modeled what they like to do after that. And so they want to get up and down the court. These are the best athletes, or some of the best athletes in the USA, and they've assembled, and it's tough to glue in a week, really, but the one thing you can do is run in transition and get that ball up. You're seeing a whole lot of unselfish play, which is great. I mean, we talked about who's in the gym right now in terms of NBA scouts and college players, so it will be easy for one player to want to go off, but 11 out of the 12 guys have scored. Tons of assists in that first half. I mean, it's been good. 26 assists for USA. So they've distributed, they're having fun, and they're playing hard.
And you made the point right off the top with 6 games in 7 nights. There's really only one off day for these teams in the tournament. The USA really able to balance and distribute the minutes.
That's big time. And I mean, I think, too, when you look at these tournaments, it does come down to that at the end. It is a grueling schedule, and when you have the ability to get in and out and rotate 5 off and 5 off in the first quarter, and there's Bill Self there, his staff's done a fantastic job of keeping everybody happy. I asked him earlier this week about one of his biggest challenges in this situation where you take over and you get your final roster down, within a week before you're competing, and he said one of the biggest things that he's concerned about is 2 positions, and I'm thinking he's talking about big man or point guard. He said no, on the court or on the bench, because they want to keep everybody happy. Well, because this team is playing so hard, when they're on the court, everybody's pretty happy.
Leading the way for the U.S. out of those distributed minutes, Tyrese Maxey had 14, Armando Bacot had 10. They were the only 2 U.S. players in double figures in points. White with 7 assists, Robinson with 7 rebounds. And really, for Team Panama, they got 3 points from Garibaldi, 3 from Gunn, and a couple from Barbua.
But what I also want to point out, Steve, is you talk about double digits. Tyrese Maxey, he was 4 for 4 from the field. He only took 4 shots. It's not like he's being greedy and trying to get his looks. He's just being efficient.
The only place in which the U.S. struggled a little bit, and we're really nitpicking and splitting hairs here, and it goes to my point right there as Hurt knocks down a 3-pointer, is that they're now 6 for 17 from 3-point lands.
Well, and that was a concern for Bill Self, is with international basketball, you have to be able to hit outside shots. Matthew Hurt is one of the, I'd say, consistent shooters on this team, and partly because he's so long, he can extend over defenders.
Grimes tried to switch hands and got fouled on the play.
And there's Cole Anthony. You saw him sitting on the bench, who's been a wonderful leader. Both games setting the tone right from the opening tip.
At the line, number 6, Quentin Grimes.
Grimes with 2 shots from the line. He has already signed with Kansas, was chased Amy, by a lot of top schools.
He's getting a little, is that not an NCAA violation? You get a little extra time with your coach when you play U18s and he's the coach, the head coach? What cool opportunity for Bill Self. I mean, it's a great age to get this job because you get to work with potential recruits and even this, he's getting to coach an incoming freshman.
Gunn with the miss. And there's the USA again running the floor, and that's what they've been able to do as the Sumo will finish.
But you know what my glass half full on that was? 3 Panama, 3 red jerseys back. They got back in transition defense. And that's something when they turn around, and maybe they don't look at this film, but maybe they do because I think they can learn a lot.
Foul looked like it was before the shot as Edward Lopez, he's 16 years old. And Panama has a couple players like this. Alberto Duque, 16 years old, and this is an under-18 tournament, so Panama certainly amongst the younger, one of the younger teams, if not the youngest team. 2 on the shot clock, and Lopez is forcing one up from half court. And that's a shot clock violation against Panama.
Again, my glass half full on this. This is a dead ball turnover, Steve. It doesn't give the USA the opportunity to leak out in transition.
Sumo, he throws the ball away, Gunn with a steal. Lopez, ball on the floor. Lopez hit 3-pointers in the game against Puerto Rico. It's turned over there. Out of bounds to the US.
And so back-to-back offensive possessions with Panama where shot clock violation and now just getting completely smothered.
Grimes from the white feed.
Oh yeah, I gotta do it, coach. I'm sorry, but I gotta do it. Matthew Reed, they left him wide open and shooters are gonna shoot.
Matthew Hurt, Amy, is being looked at by my count on one of the many respected recruiting boards. 16 different schools were looking at him. Gunn with 5 on the shot clock, tough fadeaway, and then it's cleaned up on the inside by Lombardo. Bacot Jr. was denied by Lombardo on the interior. Lombardo, the biggest guy that Panama has out on the floor at 6'4". You imagine a guy like Matthew Hurt being looked at by 16 different schools, Kentucky, Kansas, North Carolina, some of the usual suspects among them. And why not a 6'9" guy who can shoot threes? As you see Lombardo stick one back in.
And again, it's where the game's going, right? You're getting the bigs, and Hurt, although you said nice size at 6'9", I don't know if I would necessarily consider him a big man in terms of I don't see him back to the basket, but he's so efficient from outside.
Well, that traditional back to the basket guy, I'm not saying it's going the way of the dinosaur, but you see less and less of them. If you're a big man, 6'9", up to 7 foot and even beyond, you better know how to hit a mid-range jumper at least.
Hit a mid-range, and then the other big thing is you got to know how to handle that ball. We saw Robinson Earl do it earlier on in this game where he secures the ball and busts out, and that leaks into that transition game you're seeing. Guys running, filling lanes.
It was the one thing I was noting watching the Canada game against Argentina that you called yesterday, that, you know, this is again an athletic team, a big team, but they could do everything on the floor. They could run, they could hit from the outside, and again, you need to be multifaceted, I guess is the best way to put it. 80-10 the US leads.
And when you assemble these teams, right, where you're coming together a bit last minute, you're finding puzzle pieces that fit. You're not necessarily going top 12 guys that can jump the highest or hit the most shots. It's about assembling and fitting the puzzle. And when you look at the top teams in the Americas, US, of course, Canada, and that's what they've done. They fit puzzle pieces.
Grimes kickball by Gunn. Grimes will inbounds. Trace Davis. Open three again from Hurt. He's got such a sweet stroke.
Yeah, and you look at his feet as well. He's got that little hop when he catches, gets his feet set. And if you notice, he releases the ball up above his head too, and that's where things get a little bit deadly defending him at 6'9". You think you're guarding him, but he extends right over.
Tough move on the inside by Zephyrin, and ball out of bounds to Panama. Just 6 on the shot clock. Again, USA subbing liberally, Amy. 5 in, 5 out.
I would say, and this is going to sound funny, it's almost tough to coach this type of game too. I mean, Bill Self, like, you're never going to tell your guys to pull off in day 2 of a tournament or go slow. But at the same time, you don't want to look beating somebody by 73 points, but what do? You've got to focus. You're here to take care of business. You're here to win a gold medal. And telling your guys to slow down or limiting opportunities for some players, it's certainly not what you're here to do.
Rare turnover by the USA. USA has won the last 4 tournaments in the FIBA under 18, so there's some pressure on this team to keep this dynasty rolling as Lopez airballs a 3. Robinson Earl outside for Cole Anthony, and he drills a triple, and the son of the great NBAer Greg Anthony. Amy?
Making him proud. Number 50, retired on the wall, UNLV.
10 schools, from what I count, offering Cole Anthony scholarships as Axon Davis. Well, my goodness. They're going to need to replace that rim after that throwdown. Of the 10 teams that I noted who were looking at Cole Anthony, is that UNLV is not amongst them. So, you know, he's not going to follow in Dad's footsteps, but he'll go to a great school, because we all remember how great as Gun with a jumper that's up and it's good, how great those UNLV teams were in the late 80s and early 90s. Halfway through the 3rd quarter. Jumper by James is no good.
And as good as Cole Anthony looks, and his stats are great, and I'm sure that makes Dad proud, I'd be just as proud as what he's done in terms of he's one of the leaders, he's vocal, he sets a tone. It's the intangible stuff too. He distributes the ball, rewards the big man for running. He's done that a couple times. So it's the type of player that he is becoming.
Look at the hustle by Davis. He gets the ball back and got fouled on the play, but even up by 76 points, Amy, you can see the USA, they're still diving on the floor.
They're not going to go easy. Like you said, they're expected to win this. There's pressure. There's coaches in the gym. There you go. It's like a little wet on the floor or something. That's a nice finish, but like you said, they're not going to pull off and go easy. They can't. And then mentally, they've got to be sharp. They've got another game tomorrow.
Then all the teams will get a day off on Wednesday before the elimination portion of the tournament begins. Top 4 teams, though, will advance to the under-19s next summer. A little bit of wiggle room for these teams. Gunn going inside, and boy, he's worked so hard on the interior, he gets rewarded and fouled. It's Jesus Lombardo.
Did a great job just corralling the ball and going up strong.
Lombardo, a guy who averaged double figures last year at the Centro Basket Under-17 tournament, double figures at the Kokaba Under-16 tournaments. And you can see how hard he has worked in this game.
Oh.
Giving up.
Playing inside against these bodies, I mean, and then on top of taking the hits in the paint, he's got to be running baseline to baseline. You're a big man. You're not going 3 to 3. You're going baseline to baseline. That is against a fast, quick, athletic USA team. That's a lot of work. He's going to need some ice afterwards, Steve. I wonder if we could just pick a little bit of the floor up, and he can, is the ice underneath for the arena? Could just lay out.
Still good, yep.
Yeah, he could just lay out as the Niagara Ice Dogs play here too.
James knocks down his first three. Gunn with a force that's up and no good. James, Jackson, outside it goes. James with a three, no. Josiah James, upwards of 21 schools looking at him.
And again, you see the hunger and intensity. Josiah James wanted to pressure that ball right in front of the bench. They said, get back, get back.
Kick out to Duque.
And he stepped out of bounds.
3:06 to go in the third quarter.
Number 14, Herman Borbua. He replaces number 12, Jesus Lombardo.
Furman Bobua back into the game.
And you just hear Bill Self say, horns, run it right. So this is execution. That's a great look inside. It's a pin and a nice pass from the right angle. And when you talk about running things right and executing, that's what he wants to see.
Team Panama foul on number 14.
Davis, who averaged 21.6 points, 9.5 rebounds for Center Grove High School. 6'10", Amy, long arms. Guy only played 4 minutes in the game yesterday. Off the missed free throw. Anthony forced to the interior.
And now you're going to see Panama also really slow it down, try to run through their sets. They're playing against the man-to-man again, so good opportunity to set some screens.
So tough for Borbua to work against Robinson Earl on the interior.
Yeah, Borbua caught the ball and had the first look, and that's, be quick but don't hurry, right? You've got to be efficient, but when you hold the ball too long, you hesitate, you could throw a million fakes against someone who's that much bigger, longer, and athletic than you. They're going to block the shot.
Reset with 10 on the shot clock. Maxey, James, ball on the floor, pull-up jumper. And a guy, Amy, who could create his own shot like that. Pull it up.
It's muscle memory, right? 1-2 up, quick dribble, open step, or whatever you want to call it, but these guys do these reps a million times in the gym.
Anthony ripped the ball away, but it was a held ball, so the arrow going USA's way, and they'll make another 5-in and 5-out substitution. All US. All USA from the outset here. They rolled up 43 points unanswered in the first quarter, and that's pretty well been the game story. Ball out of bounds off the hands of Matthew Hurt.
And another 24-point quarter right now. Still looking to extend that, so.
Rooks fouled as he took the ball to the basket. .137 to go. They will put him on the line.
Number 7, Adrian Rooks.
And Rooks played 7 minutes in a game against Puerto Rico yesterday, getting extended minutes. 0 for 2 from the line. Caught with the jump hook. Follow up by Hepa doesn't go either. Aguilar step to the basket. Boy, that's a tough shot over the big man, Matthew Hurt, and he gets it to go.
And how about the right read too, creating some space over the length and fading away, and that's all right. The big answer though, Watts was fantastic last night in terms of coming up and showing energy, and doing the exact same thing tonight.
Watts out of Detroit. Not surprisingly being looked at by a few schools. Michigan State, Oakland. course, amongst them if he wants to stay local.
Well, this past year as a junior, averaged 27 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Does a little bit of everything.
U.S. with all sorts of opportunities inside on Borboa, who had denied Bacot on the interior, and then Bacot and Borboa got all tangled up with one another. Count the basket on the inside for Bacot. First sign of any sort of animosity.
And an unsporting foul has been called on Team USA's number 15, Armando Bacot.
So Bacot got called with what they ruled to be an unsporting foul as he got tangled up with Borboa as he completes the three-point play, and now Borboa will come back up the other end and get some opportunities from the foul line.
Yeah, I mean, much
Aguilar
after the
will
whistle.
shoot it.
Yeah,
Nope.
much after the whistle, a big shove there, Bacot.
Sorry, Borboa's got to come in and shoot the foul shots himself. He hits it. And Borboa doesn't realize he's got one more left.
And then also they'll have retained possession of the ball. Get a look at that young Panama squad.
Credit to Borboa for challenging Bacot. He got him once on the interior, then fouled him on the second opportunity. Zephyrin. Aguilar crosses it over, challenges Hurt, who knocked the ball away and then blocked the shot. Look at him, he saved it from going out of bounds, and US wants to run transition, and Watts, beautiful save, but he ended up throwing it right to Rooks. The competitive nature of the US continues as Aguilar missed one on the interior.
Oh, they're hungry, right? They continue their...
Bacot Jr. denied by Borboa as the third quarter comes to an end, so Borboa's got a little bit of energy in his game as we're through 3 quarters, 99-17
Again,
the U.S., but we're seeing both teams now getting a little scrappy.
Well, and that's a perfect example of Panama. Look, you're here, you're representing your country. That's a little bit of pride, a little bit of here. I'm still competing. I'm not looking at the scoreboard, even though we're going to go ahead and look at those stats. Again, shooting 75% from inside the 3. I mean, that's incredible.
I think the most impressive stat for me is still the 33 assists.
Yeah, they're sharing the ball, but that's a direct correlation to the high field goal percentage, because what that's telling us is that they're running through their offense in rhythm, they're getting the shots that they want, their high percentage, and they're confident right now. Look, their leading score, they got 99 points, and their leading score has 15.
Fourth quarter coming up at the FIBA U18 Americas. We are just about ready to go for the fourth quarter here in St. Catharines at the Under-18 FIBA Americas. It's all USA. They have commanded this game from the outset. 43 unanswered points in the first quarter, and they've rolled from there. 99-17 is the score through 30 minutes of play as Amy, the USA, continues to distribute the basketball, distribute the minutes, distribute pretty well everything, 1-12.
Yeah, and 47 points in transition in that fast break. That's almost half of what they scored. I can guarantee any team that still has to play USA, you're gonna see almost an exaggeration of that top guard getting back.
Yeah, Panama looked like they were looking at some of your halftime analysis, though, Amy. They played better transition defense in the third quarter. As the ball will go over to the USA. Anthony off the high rub from Hepa. And he'll board the big man, and a big-time rejection on the inside by Zephyrin.
And a little chest bump after, too, if you saw him come up. So Panama playing with a little attitude on defense. I always say defense is skill, but just as much effort and attitude and hustle and communication, all these intangible things. You see the skill with US in terms of, yeah, they're longer, they're more athletic, they're bigger, stronger. But then you see Panama with a monster block out of those intangibles. A little extra effort, heart, hustle.
Hepa missed the jump hook. James challenged and picked up the foul on the play. And Panama's not content to have the USA run a layup or dunk drill here in the fourth quarter as the ball is thrown away. And here comes a uncontested layup finished by Osunmu. And the USA has hit triple digits. Rooks will pick up his dribble. Forced and no good, and here's Anthony. Anthony collects it back from James, has an open look for three, halfway down and kick back up. Hepa working hard on the offensive rebound, and he throws it down. 6'9" from Jefferson High School. He's headed maybe to Texas to continue his basketball.
Yep. Born in Alaska, finishing out his high school prep in Texas, or sorry, in Oregon, like you said, heading to Texas. So it's kind of getting a little bit of all the different weather sources, if you want to say that. Alaska, Oregon, and Texas. He's got to have a very big wardrobe.
Absolutely. Custom made as well, the big man as well, 6'9". You can't buy that stuff off the rack.
Good point.
Ball is thrown away, and Davis will pull it back out on the interior. Maxey will kick it out, Anthony. Maxey. Three-pointer, no good. Rebound the gun.
Well, teams got to know, just on that steal alone that Panama just threw that was intercepted, it was a lob, there was a lot of air. It doesn't matter what the score is. The USA players, they're not going to just let it slide and say, oh, we're up 80 points. We're not. They're going for it every time, and teams need to know that coming in. You have got to take care of that basketball every possession.
Shot clock violation against Panama.
USA basketball.
So the ball will go back to the USA's.
Anthony with the nice little floater down the middle. Point guard sees a lane, attacks till someone meets him, and then it's just the right read.
Morbua. US back into the zone. We've seen them mix up zone and man-to-man. Gunn will pull up and shoot one. It's a bit strong. James with the rebounds. Maxey well off on the three. USA will get Puerto Rico tomorrow. They'll go in 2-0 as Gunn steps back and misses a three.
Puerto Rico just played a great game earlier today against the Dominican Republic, and they ended up pulling it off, but that was a fun game. Puerto Rico's got a couple guards that I think will match up really well with the US, or at least challenge them a little bit, so I'm excited for that one.
Panama will try and regroup, and they'll face the Dominican Republic tomorrow. The second game of the day, Ecuador and Argentina, and then Canada will get Chile, and Chile really gave Argentina a heck of a run in the last game we were watching. That it was actually, Chile had the lead in the fourth quarter and really put a scare into Argentina.
It definitely would have been a big upset, and it was, hey, as much as you don't want to take L's, obviously, Chile's got to be feeling like they got a little bit momentum going in that game just because of how hard they fought. I mean, Argentina's got some phenomenal players. And it came down to Francisco Cafaro, the 7-footer committed to Virginia from Argentina. He was fantastic to watch. While I'm sure a lot of people are watching their respected countries right now, I would highly encourage that they have the opportunity to tune in. There's some nice players on other international teams here today and all week in the tournament.
McCarthy, who you just talked about, I was shocked when you said he was 7 feet tall because he was so fluid with the basketball and looked like a much smaller man the way that he ran the floor.
And
James will hit a 3.
And the skill inside of him was wonderful. I'm sure if we put together an all-tournament package or some highlights, he'll get a couple. His game is so smooth, and I hope Tony Bennett is pretty excited about what's coming down to his campus.
Canada kicked off today in a game that featured a lot of school children here and a fantastic crowd at the Meridian Center as they dusted Ecuador 115-75.
Canada basketball has done a wonderful job getting people in the gym and creating buzz. Not that it's creating buzz for basketball in Canada these days. Not too tough. I mean, you look at the players that have come out of the country that continue to. The U18 team that's here they got some nice players. A lot of coaches for them as well.
Bright times ahead indeed for Canada, who are hoping for a finals matchup on home court. A US-Canada matchup in the final would be the dream matchup for everybody as Watts scores 2, but we've got a long way to go before we even think about that. We still got one more day of round robin play to determine seeding going forward as 3-pointer from the corner is off.
That's always
side
a little
of the
bit
backboard.
Challenging as well. You come into these tournaments and yeah, you know what you want the matchup to be, but you have to take one game at a time. You really do. You got to scout one team at a time. Again, it's business. It's a business trip for these teams. They all come here and maybe different goals. Maybe some of them just want to qualify for the U19s and get there, but nothing comes easy in these tournaments. It's a lot of work.
On the inside, doing some hard work was Robinson Earl as he puts it back in for 2. I love how you put it. It's a business trip, but it's a business trip with 16, 17, and 18-year-old athletes, which aren't the easiest ones to focus and control. I've been very impressed with all the teams and how they've kept the focus on the court.
You're right about that, but I will also add these are the most elite athletes in their country in this sport. So they've got that little extra something where they understand what they're here to do. They will, of course, get Wednesday. I don't want to say it is off, but it's not really off. A lot of them will have the opportunity to check out Niagara Falls, which is about 10-15-minute drive from the gym here, and that's nice too to get that kind of cultural experience as well. Like you said, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, as much as the games of this trip is about the basketball, it's a life experience as well.
Rooks and Sanger worked a nice give and go, and the smaller Sanger was able to finish. And all these athletes as well will carry memories going forward for this tournament. And that's with a lot of them expected to go on to bright careers, college and professionally. Skipped across and Hurt misses a 3. Right inside they go, and it's another dunk for Trace Davis. This USA team, as Borboa steps and goes high the glass and scores 2.
Talk about that muscle memory. One step, almost like a little sky hook.
This under-18 program for the USA decorated. We talked about them, Amy, winning as Hurt with a 3-pointer, no good, and the stick back, no good as well. There was a foul called on the play. 4 straight tournaments, 5 out of the last 6, and the alumni that came out of the 2002 program alone is an all-star team. Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosch, Andre Iguodala, Deron Williams amongst those.
Who are those guys?
Yeah.
I never heard of them. Are they still playing? Again, though.
All but, well, I think Deron Williams is done, and Bosch is finished, though he'd like to be back.
Still around the game a little?
Yeah.
But that goes back, Steve, to the point of when they put the jersey on. Not only the country, but who wore the jersey before? And carrying on that tradition, and there has to be a sense of humility coming into these tournaments.
For our veteran fans who may be listening, we go all the way back to 1990. Grant Hill and Allen Houston.
Hold on.
Couple guys who could shoot the
You're
ball.
calling me old because I know who those guys are.
Borbua working hard on the inside, just couldn't make it work. Robinson pull-up is no good. A rebound is contested. And a nice job by Saint-Jure to win the battle.
Team USA.
Peppa checking back into the game.
Number 13, Matthew Hurt is number 12, Kamaka Peppa.
Well, we talked to Bill Self about recruiting and what he looks for, and of course one of the most elite programs in the country, and speed, he said speed kills. And then three things. So the first one was speed. The second one was shooting. It's the hardest thing to change, so they want kids that are good mechanically in terms of shots. The third, which was my favorite, was how tough are kids. And so to hear a college coach who, again, one of the most outstanding successes as of late, looks at how tough kids are and what they're bringing to the table. They're always watching for that stuff. It doesn't matter what the score is.
Borbua, a wild move on the inside. Bill Self, a 4:43-95 record at Kansas. #1 seed in the recent NCAA tournament, though the tournament didn't go the way that they wanted.
3 Final Fours in his 15 seasons. It's just incredible.
White whips it across. Peppa will step back, and the big man just missed a 3.
And he'd be happy. His team that we just talked about this past year, Final Four team that, of course, lost to Villanova, who was without a doubt the best team in the country. Well, they averaged 81 points on the season. Hey, he's doing all right tonight.
Yeah.
116, complete balance.
You know what? He'll be happier with the 26 points given up, knowing the coaching mentality as Picant misses a short jumper.
But you almost wonder, because I certainly can't speak for Coach Self, is he going to look at the film and try to find something to nitpick, to keep these guys on their toes? It's going to be very hard.
When you set the tone the way that the U.S. did from the start of this game, they gave Panama no opportunity to really get into it. Saint-Jure and Garibaldi 2-on-1, and Garibaldi, well, just that sort of evening for Panama, isn't it, as Garibaldi misses the pass.
Yeah, a 45-0 run to start the game. I mean, that's probably something that I'll never witness again, or at least firsthand experience.
44 seconds remaining in this one, in a game the USA will win going away. An impressive performance from the red, white, and blue. As the pass went back to White, who looked like he was cleaning his face with his jersey and wasn't expecting that pass. Line drive shot by Aguilar. Gets it back, though. Saint-Jure just 4 on the shot clock. I'm not sure if he realizes it. He doesn't, and Borbua will force one. It really should have been a shot clock violation, but they'll keep going, and Picant Jr. is fed by Watts, and you always love a guard feeding the big man. And this one will come to an end after one more inbounds for the United States. Convincing is an understatement in terms of what the USA was able to accomplish today. The friendliness from the red, white, and blue ended with the exchange of gifts at center court before the game. They simply put decimated Panama this evening.
A 92. I mean, when you want to talk about sending a message to the Canadas, to the Argentinas, to the other teams in this tournament, yeah, you go out and win a 92-pointer.
Teams are shaking hands right in front of us here, and it's one of those games, Amy, in which neither team can really take a whole lot from this in terms of watching the video and saying, okay, this is what we need to work on. Panama, we knew, was coming in short-handed and really undermanned talent-wise, and the USA, simply put, as we've said, their focus was outstanding here this evening.
Yeah, you can look at rotations if you're Panama on defense or like getting back in transition, but you also do have to remember you're playing some of the top talent in the entire world, and on paper, the #1 team. So I think both teams got to ice up. They got to, maybe celebrate for about, I always say 1 minute, we might even say 30 seconds tonight, but again, it's a quick flip back to tomorrow.
You can see some smiles on the Panama faces as they go off the court, and what more could they really do in this one, Amy, as they lose.
Well, you look at the
118
balance.
to 26, yeah.
Again, the top 3 scorers in 100, that's like Golden State numbers, 118 on the game, and the top 3 scorers are 15, 14, and 12. I mean, that's tremendous balance. And again, setting a tone, hey, anyone on our roster can get it done.
United States did what they needed to do in a short tournament format. They win this one going away. They get all 12 guys with at least 13 minutes of action, and they distribute the scoring beautifully, and they defeat an undermanned Panama team who are missing their 2 best players. Final score 118 for the United States, 26 for Panama. For Amy Audibert, I'm Steve Clark saying good evening from the Meridian Center here in St. Catharines, and you have been watching the FIBA Under-18 Americas tournament. And 4 more games coming up tomorrow. Good night.
Now that's how to mop a floor quickly.
Obviously, the talent level isn't the same here, but do you feel it's important to have one of these games to build cohesiveness with your team?
It is. It was a really good game for us. We wanted to start out fast and finish strong, and that's what we did.
Committed to the University of Kentucky. Coach Cal was here tonight. Do you feel any pressure?
Pressure, no. Coach Cal seen me play a lot of times. I wanted to get the win, and that's all that matters.
What does it mean to you to have USA across your chest and play?
It means everything. These are the biggest games of my life, just representing my country, and it's a great experience.
And how badly do you want Canada?
I want to win gold. That's the only thing that we talk about is U18 gold. That's the only goal.
Thank you for your time. Congratulations. Good luck the rest of the tournament.